Welcome back again. As we promised at the beginning of the show, our dear viewers, that we are going to talk today about how to promote Egypt. How to promote Egypt on different levels, on the tourism level, on the real estate, on how to attract investors in order to have real concrete steps, positive steps on the economic level. How to do that through improving our product in different levels. That would be our topic for discussion for today with our dear guest in the studio, Ambassador Dr. Mohamed Al-Husseini. He is Economic Director in the United Nations. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Husseini. First, let's focus on how to promote Egypt in general.
And how to promote Egypt, you want first to categorize what are the sectors you will gonna to promote. Yes. We will check Egypt, and we have strength majors look like tourism. If you talk about tourism, how we are promoting Egypt now, when you go in Google and just type in the keyword search, Egypt, invest in Egypt, tourism in Egypt, you will find the only reflection to you, or the only reference, is Egypt the Future Conference. You don't have a promoting department promoting the tourism.
Yes.
You need to have something like called in the communication field worldwide. You have in Egypt annual 50,000 from 21 million. Why that? The embassy there in China, in Beijing, and you know that China is a huge land. You need to have something like a represented offices in the far cities. You need to change the visa process from the paperwork and this bureaucratic system, which is in everywhere in the government, to change it to an e-service. Something like, if I wanted to come to Egypt first, I see Egypt look like what we did in Egypt the Future in New York Times and New York Square, that you find advertising to Egypt in everywhere. Yes. Sheikh Zayed Road in Dubai, in London, in Times Square, in every place there was called Egypt is uprising, Egypt the future. So everyone was searching what's going on in Egypt. So you can imagine that the whole world is attached to the pharaoh's history. In Japan, they have did an experiment that I have read before 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
They have make a museum which is reflecting what's the pharaohs, the King Ramses, what was his history, but how they was representing that. It's in a 3D solution that you will...
Something appealing.
Something like you will stand, there is look like a video in a 3D with a light stream that you will find the full information about the King Ramses in harmony. In Japan Museum there, they have a daily visitor over than 5,000 to 6,000 visitors. You can imagine. Those people is interesting in your country. So how you promote this? You go to them and you approach them, you present your country, you present this 5,000 years history. You have a civilization, nobody's talking about it. You need to have, in the authority, in the tourism authority, you need to have an observation department to get the guys there and the promoting. What is our plan for March? What is our plan for April? You need to put a time frame, and you need to put a target countries. Yeah. And after that, you need to coordinate with them. You need to go to them. The people will not come to you. Let's forget that the 7,000 years have come in our history, and we build a name. No, now the people, the countries look like Dubai. Dubai now is ranked 3 or 4 in the world when it's come to the tourism industry. Why? They approach everyone. You have now the healthcare tourism, which look like Jordan. Jordan, they are using the Dead Sea for healing the disease. This is now they're having a compounds and a communities. Just this industry, it's based worldwide, and how they promote that. You can come, and we will what you call this? We will help you in getting the visa. We'll wait you in the airport. Our doctors and observer will go to make a follow checkup for you. They give you a program there. So the people, you have this in the Red Sea. You have a lot of healing natural places.
Many places in Egypt.
And the most important, the cost of living in Egypt is more cheap. And the people, they are welcoming anyone. The people want the tourists to return back. Indeed. So the healthcare tourism, this is a huge industry, is booming.
We are not depending much, sir, up to this moment on the healthcare tourism. Why? Because we do have many spots in Egypt which could be used in this way.
Nobody is promoting. Nobody is planning for that. Nobody is searching for that. You need, I told you, the first thing you need to do is in the tourism authority, you need to integrate a department. This department, it's called the promoting department, just to promote and categorize the tourism. The tourism is not just look like you are talking about the foreign trade. The tourism is 25 to 30% of your economy. This is one of the major.
So you see a great potential in Egypt's tourism.
Of course.
But we need to change our marketing plan.
You need to change the mentality of how you promote your country.
Yes.
You need to do that. You cannot promote your tourism to me as the same plan you have in 80s or 90s. Nobody will listen to you. You need to tell me in the Egypt Museum, I will talk to you on the spot, on the land. Do you go there and you find that any solution or any electronic solution can represent to you what is this status or what is this king have done?
No.
Or you need to read and you have
Guide.
the guide guy who will tell you, and most of them the English is not fluent, so the tourists, and you know how it's going on. So you can imagine if you put, there is a lot in China, in South Korea, in Japan, the technology, you need to use the technology. This solution will make me, which I'm an American or European or Asian or Gulf even, I will be curious. What about this? Look like in Mexico. That's how they approach the Americans. You see, the world, there is a war. It's called an economic war. So this is the spot which you choose, you change your mentality. Choose now to implement and make a new infrastructure for the tourism industry. The tourism agencies, all due respect to them, they cannot represent Egypt. Now, how you promote Egypt now, in this time? How you represent Egypt? You make a festival.
Yes.
You go to Geneva. You
Also,
go
we
to
participate in international markets, in many exhibitions for tourism. In
festivals,
Berlin.
exhibitions, events.
Yes.
This is not how you promote. China did something, and I feel sorry for that. When they make the Sphinx and the pyramids, the imitation, you know how many viewers come to them every single day for that?
In China, which is the imitation of our Sphinx.
Thousands every day. If I have a waking giant here, will look to that, meaning the Chinese people, they are aware and curious about this civilization. These people have a brain. They always look and look and look what have been done there. And you have the Pharaoh civilization and the history of Egypt. You have a lot of things. You can target, let's say, a cohort of the community or 40% of the community of the manpower to work in that abroad, not in the country, to bring you investors in the tourism industry.
Yes, of course.
Now, if I wanted to have a visa to Egypt and I'm living in China or the Philippines or anywhere, this is one of the most hardest country.
Why?
Because the process of the visa, it's the same paperwork, bureaucratic system you have it in the government. It's a copy-paste. If I wanted to have a visa to Dubai, we are sitting, we will take a cup of coffee, I will have the visa through the mobile application of the e-government, Dubai government. I can have the visa. I can open a company. I can pay my fines. I can get my national ID. I can do anything through my cell phone. It's a smart life. It's a smart life. You don't have that. You don't have that. So how you wanted to approach me, how you wanted me to look to you, because you are Egypt, there is a lot of countries in the map we are targeting. And you are in a region now in 2016, not look like in 2010. This is one of the challenges you need to know.
Yes, it's true.
When you put this plan, your president is working 20 hours a day for what? To secure this nation.
But we should work too, sir. We cannot depend on one or two or three people to work only.
Okay, he cannot work alone.
Indeed.
Right? You cannot target one establishment, which is the presidential establishment. There is an effort is being done by the government. Let's put the positive lines. But it's not what the world needs. This is not the language you guys use, because you need to have a cooperation between the governments. How come? Up to now, we don't have a department to promote the investments. How come up to now we don't have a project called Made in Egypt?
Yes.
You
How
are
can
target-
this slogan again?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When you are talking and saying we have a shortage in the dollar,
Yes.
we are facing a huge problem. Yeah, you are facing that. Why? Because you are coming to, let's say, an 80% of your needs as a community imported.
Yes.
Egypt before, they have a project that the world needed. You have a technical specification and the international standard in how to export. Now, everything you have in your life, it's made in China. Why? Because the government in China, they did a smart plan, which they target the mid and small enterprises. When we did the Egypt the Future conference, we target the large and the huge enterprises, the holding companies, the holding group of companies, the big investors, which they are coming by billions. Okay, those guys, when they come, you cannot put them downtown. You wanted to put them in the business parks. You wanted to put them in a different spots.
Indeed.
Because this is where they used to do them business. The mid and small enterprise, you can count that as let's say 46% of any booming economy, because the mid and small enterprise, those, when it's come to the small factories, if you wanted to make a vase and you go to China and you just give them the sample, they will do it to you. If you wanted to make a robot, they will do it to you. Is that a huge factory? No, this is a small factory.
So you think that we can solve the dollar crisis by focusing on in developing local products
Of course,
and
because
exporting them?
you don't have an identity. You don't have a guideline called Made in Egypt. Ma'am, when you look to the Gulf region,
Yes.
to Singapore, when you call Made in Dubai, Made in UAE, sorry, Made in UAE, or Made in China, Made in Singapore, Made in UK, why you have a different cost and a different types when it's come to the country? Why when I buy the suits, it's made in Italy, it's worth $10,000, but if it's made in China, it's $1,000? Because there is a guideline. There is a specification of manufacturing. You don't have that in Egypt. You don't have it. When I had a meeting previously with someone in Ministry of Trade and Industry, and we talk about how you guys, up to now, you don't have a department called Made in Egypt.
Yes.
What is made in Egypt? It's a stamp you are sealing in any product that's coming abroad. Nobody wants your products because all the people abroad is looking to your products. It's a cheap products without specification. If you bring from IKEA, from any furniture shop here, it's important. If you got this table, you will find the specification about the table and what the material have been used, the raw material, everything.
Yes.
You don't have that in Egypt. How you will approach me as an investor in East Asia? This is the spots you must target.
Yes.
Let's forget the help. We don't need help.
Of course.
We can help. We don't need help. We don't need donation. This is Egypt. We don't need that. What we need is we need to focus and concentrate and make a strategic plan. This strategic plan, the youth, we will make them cooperate in that. Come on, guys. I need to have an ideas how we can promote our country. I will not talk to you about the government. Let the government be as how it is. We need them to be a logistic support line. For me as an investor, when I come here, I will not waste my time for having my license, my visa, my labors, which I will bring them from abroad, my paperwork when it's come to the immigration, all of this, let's make it in a light process with a shortage time, okay? And then, when we go abroad, we will not go in a festival or events or conference. No, we will cooperate with those PR companies. The PR companies abroad, those who is promoting, those who really have the studies about the audience, about the target of what you want. You want mid-enterprise? Define to me which line of industry. Define to me who exactly you want, what you wanted to do in your country. They will send for you a list of companies and list of people and list of capital investors, and they will meet you at the government and they will tell you that's what we have. Are you interested in that? Let's set up a meeting. Give them a facilities. In Morocco, they have did an amazing thing. Morocco, our neighbor. I'm not talking about Gulf. I'm not talking about China. I'm not talking about anything.
Yes.
Morocco, they are now changing the way they promote them country. They approach Renault car, the manufacturer, you know. How they approach them now, they are building a massive factory in Tanja, targeting in 2 to 3 years to export from Morocco 200,000 cars Renault, made in Morocco, not combined. No, it will be full made in Morocco. How they approach those investors? This is a big investor. They approach them, but they said they will give them a non-refundable grant for a 30% when it's come to the equipment, a 10% non-refundable grant when it's come to the land, a 15% non-refundable grant when it's come to the buildings, a zone corp representative to deal with them in all the paperworks, taxes, free of taxes of income and the profit taxes for 5 years. Then it will be a price to 8.75% for 20 years. This is how the government promote the investors and make the investors having the spark. Yeah, this is a good spot. You have a cheap labor. The manpower in Egypt is cheap compared to the Gulf, compared to Asia, compared to Europe. And you have a huge population. You have a lot of natural resources. All of that, if you use it in a plan and you represent facilities and you come down from your chair to this investor, he will come to you. In India, they have made a promoting plan called idea, called Make in India, not Made in India, Make in India, which is approaching the investors to come and make his first business in India. By the same, they give them 15% a non-refundable grant when it's come to the equipment. A lot of things. This is the people this is how the government is approaching.
Indeed, so.
And they have a technical specification in how they manufacture the production line of them products, and not just the product. No, not the production. They have the symbols, and these symbols, the marketing departments and the factories and the governments, they are promoting Made in Egypt abroad.
Indeed. Ambassador Dr. Mohamed Al-Husseini, Economic Director in the United Nations, thank you very much, sir, for your precious input and for being our guest for today, and have a lovely morning.
Thank you, Dr. Husseini. And now, dear viewers, this was the last topic in our edition today. This is Sheena Adel, Maisty Rabia, signing off.